Hey everybody, Keith here, Two Guys How To. Today we're shooting another video. Of course, I'm working on something else I want to show you real quick. It's a Ford F350 Superduty with the 7.3 liter turbo diesel, and today we're going to swap out the ICP sensor located up on the top part of the head, just right around where the rocker cover meets the head, and you'll see it right behind the alternator on the right side. So basically, to diagnose it, the pigtails on the back where the plug goes in, they do leak, and you'll see oil back there. It's a sure sign showing that something's not up. You're not supposed to have oil up on there. And or if you're having hard starts or difficulty or the check engine light comes on, it's a cheap way to check it. Go ahead and disconnect it if your vehicle's not starting. If your vehicle starts up, then you know the ICP is having interference with it. And or when the motor is running, you can pull the connection off the ICP right there, and you should notice a change indicating that it is operating correctly and the computer is sensing it. So if you unplug it while it's running, you don't notice any change with the motor, chances are it's bad. The oil is a surefire way to tell. Just get rid of it, get a Ford OEM sensor. So we're going to go out there today on this truck. It's a 2002 F350 Super Duty with the 7.3 turbo, and I'm going to show you how to change it in about 10 minutes while June's doing some other work. And I'm going to film it myself and knock it out. If I can do it one-handed, pretty much you guys can do it. So 10 minutes later, save yourself a ton of money and buy other parts. So let's get on out here to the garage area and swap this thing out real quick so you can do it yourselves. Keith here, Two Guys How To. June's over there messing with some calipers, and today we're working on an F350 7.3 turbo diesel, and we're just diagnosing some oil up in the top valley of the motor. And you can see the big old 7.3 international motor. Last year of them was late or early 3s. But anyway, to diagnose why you got a bad IPR, which is down there, or an ICP, which is up on the rocker cover. So if you're looking at the motor, it's your top alternator. Right there, going into the block is your wiring harness. It's hard to see. And if you look at it, you can see oil coming off of the pigtail. And if we take the clip off of here to be gentle, right there, I'll try to get it in the sunlight here. You can see the oil right there glistening. So that's a sure tall tale way of knowing that the sensor might be good, but it's on its way out. There was no check engine lights on this particular truck at all, and no codes, so we're just going to swap it out. Normally they tell you to replace this pigtail. I'm going to shoot it with some of that CRC parts clean. I'm going to take this gasket off so we don't swell it, this purple gasket, and spray everything, dry it out, hit it with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, make sure the oil's all the way gone, and move on to plugging it back in. I'll move to the IPR sensor, which is down there too. And this one's particular, it's round with a 5/8 down underneath of it. Normally they don't have them like this. First and foremost, I disconnected both batteries. That way you don't get a charge from the alternator if you don't take the alternator off. So I'm just going to get back behind it on this one. This is a 2002, but it's got an older looking IPC sensor on it. So I'm going to loosen that up, and it should just unscrew right on out of there. Let's take it out there. And we're going to cover that hole so nothing falls down in there with this rag here. So you can see it right there. It's coming out of the head. And there's a little bit of oil that came out. It's got an O-ring on it. You can see where the 5/8 is down here. The newer ones are, I believe, a 26 mil, or actually I use a 1 1/8 wrench, and you can see the difference there between the old one and the new one. Just make sure it's 3-prong. Everything looks good. This one's brand new from Ford, not some aftermarket one, and not a counterfeit one off of eBay or something. This is the Frank 6 Tom Zebra -9 Frank 838-A, and that's an F6 TZ-9F 838, and that's the original one there. So I know this is real, came from Ford. And we're going to clean that up, and we're just going to go ahead and screw the new sensor back in real fast. You can see that purple gasket that's on there. I'm just going to go ahead and take that off right now. If you drop it down in there, you're just going to have to fish it back out of the valley down there. Set that to the side. And I got some CRC Brake Clean. This is a non-chlorinated formula, and basically you're just going to squirt it right down into these three. I wrap a rag around it like this, and then I spray it out. I spray it with some air, and that way the rag grabs all the dirt. And you can see I sprayed it once. There's barely any oil in it anymore at all, if at all. And I'm going to spray it. I'm going to let it dry all the way before I put that purple gasket back around there, the perfect purple seal. Otherwise, that carb cleaner or parts clean, it'll eat those old little seals up. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up one more time. You just take that hose of that CRC like this, and you can see some of the greens coming out of it. So oil black, so we're good. I'm gonna let that dry one more time, and then I got a little bit of dielectric grease here that I'm going to put on there before I plug it back in. So we can take this new sensor here, and I'm actually going to put a little WD-40 right around this O-ring part. All right, let's give it a little bit of WD-40 spray there. You can use motor oil as well. And let's see if we can get back down in here. Move that plug out of the way and go back down into the head there. I'm actually going to wipe that one time real quick. And screw this in. You don't want any Loctite or anything like that. Just go ahead and screw it in. It'll seal with that gasket that's on the front. All right, so you can see it. I got the deep well on kind of an angle, getting around that fuel line there. And I got a big long, about 10-inch extension, 12-inch extension going to my 1/2-inch drive. And I'm just gonna snug it up a little bit. That's pretty good. So we can go ahead and put some dielectric grease on this plug here that we took off of it. That's now dry enough. Make sure you get all the debris and little rag pieces off the front. We'll go ahead and put a dab of dielectric grease right there, and that seal back on there, that purple seal that's sitting there, and we'll plug this back up. All right, so we got the seal back on, that purple seal. I got some dielectric grease. Everything looks clean. Double check all your connections. If you feel ambitious, if you buy a kit off the internet or something, it might come with this pigtail. You can swap that out. If you're not having a problem, just leave it. And let's just plug this thing back in here. Let me just double check where it is. Yep, spin this around like so. Boom, and that's it. Good to go. So we're nice and clean. You can see the new sensor down in there, and we can move on to the Ipr sensor down there. It's got a little nut and a solenoid. That one's a little bit more of a pain, much more of a pain to get to, but they both leak, and they'll both put oil in the valley pan. So don't forget, when you change your sensor, clean out the oil out of that valley pan with the hose, get it out of there, and then monitor that pigtail right there for leaks. All right, guys, so we've been just changed the ICP sensor on this, and we just did the IPR depending on what video you watched or we're working on right now. I'm going to blend these together because either way, when you start the truck, after you get them in, it's going to idle a little funky. Make sure your vacuum lines are hooked up, the green and the red. Don't worry about it. Don't freak out. Don't start pulling wires off the ICP and all that to see if it steadies up. You got air into the oil lines when we took the sensors out, so it's going to take a little bit of time for the oil to work itself out of there as it goes over and powers the injectors. Just let it idle, let it just be patient, let it idle for a little bit before you run it up the road. This one we just did on this black Ford. It's a 2002 on the video, it was idle and kind of rough, sounded cammed out. So we just let it sit here and idle. It's cold today, and it's cleaned up really nice. It starts up really good, way better from the sensors. And we're going to go back in and we're going to change the high pressure roll lines as well, because we're getting some drippage from those down onto that IPR. So as we've been bleeding the brakes on this truck, it's just started purring like a kitten. So don't freak out. Don't say, oh, I did something wrong or whatever. Don't start checking all the wires just yet. Let that thing sit there and marinate and let her purr, and it should steady up, and then you're good to go. So just do that, knock it out, save that money, do it yourself like we do, and get OEM parts if you can, for sure. If you can't, then at least go to a reputable place that you can return them if they don't work. Just stick to that OEM while you can, at least while the parts are available. You'll get a lot more longevity out of it, because IPR, it does have little seals in there that will leak, and that ICP has seals in it as well. And the new Ford OEM ICP has glue around the top of it, and you can see it, it's glued in there real good, so maybe they've made some little bit of advancements so it won't leak out. So go with that OEM if you can. Don't buy them knocked off ones where they're rebagging them on eBay and all that crap. It's hard to tell. I know it's hard to tell. If the price is too good to be true, it's too good to be true. So spend that extra money and knock it out. Keep two guys out too. I'm on to the next thing. I got to make some money today myself and get on to another project. So I'm out. Check out the other videos. Maybe they'll help you out on these diesels and anything else that we work on. See ya. What's up, Iggy? Talk to him before I shut the video down. Oh yeah. Yep. You're not a pig, you're a lawyer. He's not a pig, he's a lawyer. Peace.